right, everybody, we are now live, and Roxy, feel free to take it away.
Thank you, Vince, and good day, good day, good day. Welcome to Regenera Rising, day 5. Today, our theme is Regeneration and Celebration, and what a day it is to celebrate. Thank you for coming together for this global confluence. Confluence literally means rivers meeting, bodies of water coming together, flowing. And that's truly what we are doing in this moment together, in this global confluence for creators of regenerative futures, which is all of you. You've joined us in this inaugural celebration of the Regenaissance, this decade-long global movement that's bringing together revolutionary creators, systems thinkers, and organizations to imagine, collaborate, and co-create a world that truly works for 100% of life. We are honored to have had this experience be what is bringing us all together from many walks of life. And thank you for mobilizing on this day, on this week, in this historical moment for planetary and cultural regeneration. The birth of Regenera, the story universe that's been created by the Design Science Studio to scaffold thousands of projects and ideas throughout the decade ahead for a future that is regenerative, equitable, and just. The studio is an educational incubator for art. It is a program of the Buckminster Fuller Institute in partnership with Habitual, and it was built to empower creators to imagine this regenerative future. As part of the story-burnt universe of Regenera, we're launching 144 revolutionary projects, each one helping co-create and propel a transition to this world that we imagine. And so today we'll get to hear from some of our revolutionaries. And I am so honored to tell you that we have Jurgis today and Alana Bloom. We have Olivia Goodling and Ada Paris and Haley Walker. And we also have a special guest featured speaker, Marley Benedict, with us. So as we're kicking off, welcome. And I'm going to hand it over to Jurgis for our daily ritual of movement, followed by some grounding from Alana Bloom. Welcome.
How are you all doing, beautifuls? Are you doing good? Are you doing good? Show me a sign of life. Come on. Show me something lovely. I am convinced that the future is not only regenerative, it is also co-created. My name is Jurgis Di Julis. I am your regenerative recreacionista for today. Yes, I am here to help you recreate. That is to focus your attention to a place where we can maybe achieve different outcomes. Perhaps togetherness, perhaps inspirational visions, of which truly there will be no lack. And when you see all this regenerative magic, there will be no turning back. All right. Re and co. All right. So, because my mission is to activate you and get you involved in this space, I would like to hear your beautiful voices today. Let's do a little bit of warm up. All right. So let us all sit up straight in our chairs. Sit up straight in your chairs. That's right. You may or may not connect through your eyesight and the camera. But what I would prefer you to do is to take your third eye, stretch it up into the clouds like this, right? And then also maybe what I refer to as the third testicle, or perhaps your third clitoris, and stretch it out into the ground, right? Take a deep breath. And just exhale. Ah. Beautiful. Very nice. Ah. 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 Now just with this one note, you can convey a lot of information. You can express disdain or consternation. You can express love and appreciation. So let's just practice those simple Yes, Alana. A ver, Marley. Yes. exactly, Roxy. Now, keep in mind that the emotion that you project into this space is contagious and people will pick it up. I wonder what mood Melissa's in. Can you unmute and give us your ah? Give us that ah.
Ah.
I love that ah. That's a good one. I really felt that. See? Economy of words can do a lot. Nicolas, how are you feeling? I see your eyes are square from all the screen time you've been putting in. This is your ah? Let's see. I want to get some of that Nicolas going like this. That's good. That's nice. Beautiful. With the fingers. This is magic. Nice. So lovely. Ah. Can we get a proper English, post-colonial English ah from Miss Ada Paris by any chance? Oh my goodness. Imbued with culture and operatic faculties. That's a good ah, I love it. Amanda, how about an ah from you? You look like you're cheery today. Why don't you share that cheer with the rest of the room? Lovely. I have to confess, beautifuls, ever since I've been hanging out with you, I've been seeing geometric patterns, I've seen entangled systems, I've been seeing all kinds of crazy things all around. Now, if you've also felt that your attention has been heightened by all these regenerative hippies, unmute yourselves and give me a good ah. I love it. It's such a spot for the soul. So now, let's create some music for the people on our feeds, on the streaming services, YouTube and Facebook. I would like to invite you all to sing. That's right. I love it when you sing. That's right. Sing. Good. I love it when you I'm a believer in self-organization, and especially when in a creative process, that people know when they need to step in or step out. So I'm gonna let you do the sings whenever you feel is due and can actually help this much more beautiful, then that's the time for you. Ready? If everybody's ready, show me a thumbs up. Everybody's ready? Are you ready? Beautiful Alana, Stefan, sing. When you fallen in love, you sing. When they've broken your heart, you sing. When it all falls apart, you sing. When alone in the dark, you sing. When you're battered and scarred, you sing. When you pick yourself up, you. Now it's time to bring in the rhythm. Can I see you clapping? I want to see you clapping. Mute yourselves. I want to see you clapping. Now sing loud for yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Sing. Find your voice amongst others and sing. Become one with the other and sing. You have magic within. Sing, sing, sing. I love it when you sing. I love it when you sing. I need you all to sing. Good. All right. Now, I don't want to be a dictator, and I won't be. Whenever you want to unmute yourselves, you go ahead and do it. Just keep in mind that Vince might mute you, so don't get offended, all right? It's just us self-regulating. Don't take it personally, all right? Now, I want it to get really loud. Loud. All right? I'm even going to take a step back. All right? Take a step back. I want you to go, oh! Oh! Yeah, with hands. Oh! 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 This is crazy magic technology here. Imagine that. Thousands of kilometers away, and here we are regulating with one another. But check it out. Now let's hear you sing. I love it when you sing. That's what song is about. When you let it all out. Sharing more than just space. Holding more than just notes. Give me a romantic one, a romantic one. A long for together. You forgot to remember. Mel, you have an amazing voice. That's a beautiful voice. That's a beautiful voice. Oh my goodness. Did you sing opera in this lifetime or in a previous? Yes, you did. I'm gonna give you the stage. Everybody.
No. I relate to Robinson Crusoe, the famous opera star.
There you go. See? You have it in you. Ready? I'm gonna give you the space, and everybody hold your hands up. We're gonna sustain Mel in his new operatic solo. Ready? 1, 2, 3, Mel. Sing. We all want to hear Mel when he
sings.
I
All right, good. Now, one of the things I've realized is in this Regenera week, we have had to coordinate in ways that we've not known how to. Like, I've learned how to coordinate through the telepathic functions of my iPhone. I've realized that there's some special roaming thing right there when Nicolas needs your attention or you need his, or when maybe Roxy is feeling. She says, I need to know where Jurgis is, right? So now I would like you all to connect to that telepathic function, that highly intuitive function. I want you to connect with it, right? All right? Okay? Everybody's connected? All right? The speeds are correct. I'm gonna go. Ba-da-ba-da-bop. You're connected. Ba-da-ba-da-bop. You know, it is very difficult for a musician to make a living when you cannot control the sound in the room, when there are so many unknown variables. Thank God I'm not a musician. I'm a regenerative recreacionista. Beautiful ladies and gentlemen. One last deep breath. I love it when you. Now, we probably should have had the next speaker before me because we're doing singing. And as a person who believes in the power of music, I also believe in the power of the word. But before the word, there was the breath. There was the breath. Somebody went, contemplated, and then exhaled with intention and with certain notes that defined all of the creation that came afterwards. Now that may sound like crazy hardcore hippie bullshit, but after you see, I'm not allowed to say that word, right, Faith? That's bad. I saw her go like this. Hardcore hippie nonsense. There we go. But the person who's coming up next is an expert in calibrating human beings, bringing them together. And she does it through many, many different ways. But one of them is the breath. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can put your hands up and send a lot of love to Alana Bloom.
Oh, looks like my internet literally just froze as you all did that. It was like a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy coming through. I mean, I don't think the standard internet is ready for that. That's why we need the regenerative internet, which is Akashic Field 3.0 ready and has all the necessary plugins. That's going to be, we're going to require a lot of technological advancement, but at least now we see what's happening. We're developing.
Is that 5G? If it's 5G, some people might not want it. I hope it's not 5G.
It's what?
It's not 5G, it's 5D.
No,
It's 5e, yes. 5e.
Thank you so much, Jurgis. I feel like my whole soul is just lit up with play and creativity, and feels like a really great way to arrive and land. So thank you for everything you're bringing. Mwah. And yeah, I guess breath. There were organisms on this planet once upon a time that created oxygen that we now breathe. So let us just take a moment to feel that oxygen and feel the oxygen pumping around our bodies and the oxygen in the air around us. And just pause and just, take a step back from anything you're doing.
Serious pause.
Just breathe.
She paused the internet with her pause.
I'm gonna try and get in touch with on WhatsApp, and we'll see if we can get her back on. So just give us a minute. And Jurgis, do you want to take over while we're trying to solve this problem?
I can try and take over. Hold on. Let me connect to Alana through my Akashic network. Hold on. Beeps. Yes, Alana. She's saying, yeah, reception is crystal clear here in Colombia and in San Francisco as well, I see. Right, perfect. So what she wanted you to do is to really just sit, stand up straight, right? Of course, stand up straight. And consider, with every breath you inhale, that what you breathe in is something that someone else has breathed out. And exhale. And that air you have supercharged with your being has now been projected onto the planet, which will breathe you in. It's breathing you in. And now as you hold your breath before you inhale, you are aware and conscious that through your inhalation, you are breathing in the world. I actually have a nice track for this. It's called Just Breathe. Just breathe. Inhale. Just breathe. Yeah. Just breathe. Inhale. Just breathe. Oh, 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 oh. Just breathe. I would love you to unmute yourselves, and I would love to hear you breathing when we return to the chorus. I'm just going to play a little bit something so you get yourself in the mood, all right? In the meantime, maybe Alana will join us. In equal portions and measures alike, you get what you give. You'll die as you live, that's right. In equal portions and measures alike, you reap what you sow. Your prospects will grow, that's right. In equal measures alike. Oh, inhale. Exhale. Just breathe. Oh, yeah. Just breathe. I would like to hear the music of your breath. Is that possible? The breath of the Regeneissance. the breath of the Design Science Studio. Ready? Inhale. Just breathe. Just breathe. Last time. Just
Welcome back, Alana.
I see that Alana has joined us, and I am so glad. I'll pass it back to her, and I don't know, and maybe ignore all the fun that we've had. Ready? Let's do one last breath so that she can take this what do you call it, moderating energy. Let's transfer it. All right, I'm gonna project the moderating energy into the screen. You breathe it in. Everybody, and now you're gonna exhale it onto Alana. Ready?
Thank you, Jurgis. My internet crashed. Apologies, everyone. And it sounds like you had loads of fun without me. Darn it. But I had fun. Like frantically, like what's going on? Breathing, coming back to the breath. Feels like you've all been breathed, you've all been sung. So I'm gonna hop into my sharing what I do and who I'm about and what I've got to bring to this regenerative renaissance. So regenerating rhythms is my work. It's a way of incorporating and listening to the rhythm of life, listening to the rhythm of the earth, the rhythm of our breath, the cyclical rhythms that exist all around us and within us. And my project that I've been developing through the Design Science Studio is Living in Rhythm. You can see there's a connection, all to do with rhythm. And Living in Rhythm is really about regenerative cyclical living towards an ecological civilization. There was a really great article written in Yes Magazine that speaks to what an ecological civilization is. But yeah, essentially regenerative cyclical living is a pathway or a map that can move us towards that as a possibility. And I'm sure you're all very familiar with the kind of context of where we're living in and what we're living through. And I really feel this sense of we're in a global burnout, and how our disconnection with nature has basically enabled a perpetual summer. And that perpetual summer is economic growth, and it's led us towards climate breakdown, extinction, ecosystem collapse, mass inequality, plus an epidemic of burnout and mental health issues. So this is the kind of context we're living in, and I really feel that this is just like a constant perpetual summer of productivity and growth, essentially. And so Living in Rhythm is about dismantling this global burnout that we're living through by supporting the inner-led change to dismantle the ways in which we mirror this perpetual summer and those destructive systems around us. So Living in Rhythm is a 9-week journey for regenerative practitioners. And by regenerative practitioners, I mean people that are engaged in building a positive regenerative future. And that might look very different for so many people, because there is a multiplicity of ways that we can approach creating a regenerative future. But essentially, it's for those people to reconnect and really root into the Earth's intelligence as they resource themselves through deep nature connection, regenerative cyclical living, embodiment, and learning. And so systems, the reason inner-led change is because these systems around us, they're upheld through our behaviors, our patterns, our choices, the ways we are in relationship with ourselves and each other, and the world either maintain those destructive systems or they build the fertile soil for new possibilities to emerge. So this learning journey is very much about using inner-led change to help us see how we can invest or divest from current systems. And, you know, I love how much we are engaged in the Design Science Studio with futurism, visionary futurism in so many different forms, and really kind of feeling what that future could be in our bodies. And my sense is that if we're going to build that future, we really need to repair our relationship with the natural world, because it's the belief that we are separate from nature that has allowed us to extract and destroy and exploit it. But we're not separate. We are nature. We've emerged out of it, and we're deeply interdependent with it. So remembering our connection to that living world is such an important part of dismantling structures and systems and building regenerative ones in their place. And so what is regenerative cyclical living? Well, essentially for me, it's pathways, different pathways towards these regenerative futures. And for me, I really feel that if our culture is out of balance in this thing I've kind of named perpetual summer, then cyclical living helps us really see and understand the importance of these other parts of the cycle. So I really think about winter and wintering, such as rest and stillness and receptivity, and the qualities that are associated with winter are kind of like a balm or an antidote to this perpetual summer. So how we can find connection to the seasons and the cycles can really help us find a deeper connection with the earth and embody both our wholeness and the earth's wholeness. And so this is within Living in Rhythm, this approach is kind of a mixture of different things. It's part of my own ancestry, which is the Celtic Wheel of the Year. It uses the 8 Shields map, deep nature connection. It's also rooted in regenerative agriculture and growing food and being in connection with land, as well as embodiment, somatics, deep ecology, as well as ancestral and survival skills that really help us connect to the land in a multitude of different ways. And so I kind of feel that this regenerative cyclical living, it's a new way to do something ancient. Like it has always existed in a multitude of different ways. So, but essentially it captures a way of living that's in alignment and in connection with the earth and the rhythm of life. So this is about rewilding, reclaiming, grieving, celebrating, honoring both the light and dark, and finding a deeper intimacy with the earth through that. And it's not a space that seeks to have all the answers, but rather it's a container for inquiry that supports and builds the integrity of the regenerative movement. And it's essentially for people who are feeling that they want to really be in alignment and in connection with the earth in their work, in their practices. And I really want it to support those who are doing regenerative work. So these are a couple of the kind of types of people who I think would be interested and who this would really benefit and whose work I feel this would really resource. So that includes activists, artists, regenerative practitioners, systems thinkers, but really this is for anyone who feels a real need to move into an alignment with nature and into connection with nature. And I guess the thing that led me to really seeing the need for this at the moment is, so I'm based in the UK and we're still in a lockdown here, right? And people have been turning to nature to support themselves through this pandemic. And I found this in a study that basically 53% of the adult UK population are going for a walk outside to help them cope with the stress. And visiting green spaces helped over 40% of the population. Now, if you pair that with the 79% of workers that experienced workplace stress and burnout in 2020, then it just feels so clear that we need nourishing experiences that connect us to nature, that we really need that in this time in so many ways. And so this is why I'm looking for some financial support so I can build more a deeper level of equity and inclusion into my work and offer scholarships and bursary places to those that are from marginalized communities or identities, and further funding to support actually working with organizations that are deeply in need of building regenerative practices into their working culture, because this isn't just about individuals, it's about systemic patterns and cultures. So how can we shift our working environments so that they're places that center our well-being rather than profit? And with this, I hope that the impact could be creating this culture of healing and inner-led change that moves us from global burnout and really supports the pathways to transformation. So we can shift our working cultures into environments that center our wholeness, our well-being, as we create new systems and structures that honor the cyclical rhythm of life. So this is something that I've spent the past 2 years kind of building, developing, visioning, and it's been in connection with a lot of things. But essentially, I'm really interested in regenerative cyclical living as a way to educate about cultural patterns that lead us towards climate breakdown, ecosystem collapse, and mass extinction, and how we can make those real radical shifts towards cultural healing and regenerative cultures. And these are a few of my partners and advisors. I feel so supported by the Design Science Studio, and through a number of collaborations and conversations with people through the studio, I really feel this work has kind of been blooming and growing in a multitude of different ways. And yeah, really feeling grateful for all that support, and also the support of the more than human world that's been influencing and yeah, bringing its magic. So yeah, this is kind of, I really hope that we can build these regenerative futures, and that we do so in a way that remembers our connection and our interdependence with the natural world, so we can create those regenerative futures in a way that's healing, that's within integrity, and through collaboration and care and connection, and in a way that honors the cyclical rhythm of life. So Living in Rhythm starts in June the 7th, and applications are currently open, and I'm really interested to hear from people, people who would consider participating, people who might want to offer funding towards scholarship places, but also I'm just so excited to be in discussion around these themes and to hear people's thoughts and to see how cyclical living looks in your own life, and that it's not something that has a specific way, but actually it's more about finding our own pathways that bring us into connection with life in its simplest form. So thanks so much, everyone, and thanks for bearing with me with my technical hiccup of my internet dying, and I look forward to seeing this work grow and develop in connection and collaboration with all the other cohorts and people in the studio. So thank you. Yeah, we love you.
Alana, thank you very much for that very, very, very beautiful presentation. It was lovely. But I'm still missing the breathing together. I think that we're gonna talk to Roxy and try to get you maybe to do it tomorrow. I have a very nice idea I would maybe like to develop for you. So maybe together with you, I'm sorry. So maybe tomorrow we can do the breathing. I mean,
sounds good, Jurgis.
Yeah, could it be a date with all of us? That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah. Now, the next speaker is very, very interesting. And I think one of the things that I really would like to put out to the people who are watching this beyond our circle of DSS cohorts is that we are not woo-woo. We are not esoteric, crazy hippies. We're not. We just believe that there's something beyond science. And so very often when you will hear me talking, say, about Akashic records, or maybe, about energies, or about kind of all kinds of spiritual things, it's not because I don't believe in science. It's just that we believe that there's something beyond that. And we believe that that which is well beyond our understanding is something that we should also integrate into our everyday lives, and especially into our prescriptive aspirations and the things that we want. Like, for example, goodness in the universe. I mean, I don't know if there's a scientific description for it, but by living our beliefs, we bring them to be. And one of the people which is going to talk to us a little bit about that and how she mixes art and our innate spiritual abilities is our next speaker, which is Marley Benedict, which is joining us from Hawaii, and definitely a person who bridges those divides and something that is very, very needed at this point in time. Marley, the stage is yours.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Whew. And thank you, Alana, for taking us through the seasons with COVID. I feel like 2020, we are coming out of a shared winter. And winter is a time where we're forced to slow down. And slowing down is what lets us come deeper into our body, come deeper into our breath, come deeper into the realms of our inner knowing. And I guess I totally agree with you. It's so important to activate our creative abilities because it's from this inner knowing, from this silence that we can create around ourselves, that we can go deeper within to access our own intuition, to access our inner voice, to access our inner creator that's inspired from a unique set of life experiences that each one of us individually has. No one else is like us, therefore nobody else has our unique creative abilities. And it's really easy to doubt our creative abilities whenever we don't see that reflected outside of ourselves. And it takes a lot of courage to use our authentic voice, whether that's through creating a new business, starting a new research project, creating a piece of art, creating a piece of music, introducing yourself to a new community who might be more in resonance with your internal beliefs. All of that requires courage, but we are here creating our reality, consciously creating our reality. And so whenever you look around you, for example, this room is a great example, but look around your room right now, or if you're outside, everything around you right now started with your imagination. It started with a thought, and that thought maybe became words, and those words became manifestations, became actions. Through your imagination, igniting that with your willpower, you are literally creating your reality. Everything around you right now, you've brought into your reality, or someone that you've brought into your reality has brought into your reality for you. And whenever we can start to realize that, not just from our immediate ripple, right, but from the external ripple going further and further and further out into our property, into our ohana, our family, into our communities, into our state, into our country, into our world, it can be really easy to feel overwhelmed by that. Like the weight of the world is on our shoulders. And that's not the truth. There's this quote by Mr. Rogers that I love, which is that if everybody did for their neighbor what they wanted to do for the world would be a different place. And it's that quote is one of the quotes that changed my life. Because I just started thinking about these like big visions that I have. And I started looking at my immediate life and thinking, well, how can I begin to embody that? And that's how I found myself in Hawaii, living off grid, working with the land, growing my food, catching the rainwater, drinking the water. And for the year of COVID, listening to my soul's guidance before COVID broke out, I was guided to go to Hawaii and start learning all these regenerative sustainable practices. And it's been massively transformative. And this is something that not everybody can do. So I realized like how lucky I am to be able to be mobile like that, to be able to work remotely and to move my body where it feels called and where it feels safely. But no matter where you're living, you can start growing a garden in your kitchen, on your windowsill. You can start taking walks in nature and really acclimating yourself back to those natural seasons that Alana was talking about. Because whenever we reacclimate to the natural seasons, we come back into harmony within our own body. And whenever we're in harmony with our body, we can begin to access deeper realms of creativity and intuition inside of ourselves. And whenever we start to access our inner voice, then we can start to go even deeper to access the voice of the earth. And the voice of the earth is very clear and very loud, and it's asking us to bring our visions to life. There is a quote by the environmental scientist and U.S. advisor on climate change, James Gus Speth. I love this one because he's a scientist and he's an environmentalist, and he was on the U.S. advisor. He was a U.S. advisor, and what he said was, I used to think the top environmental issues were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought that 30 years of good science could address these problems, but I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with those, we need a cultural and spiritual transformation. And we scientists don't know how to do that. And this was his closing statement at a keynote speech. And he dropped the microphone and he walked off the stage. And there was a room of environmentalists and scientists and researchers who were sitting there, probably feeling a moment of loss of hope. Here's this man, this leader in the field, saying that we know nothing that can actually fix this. And that quote was really inspiring to me, because as somebody who is driven by the arts, by philosophy, by spirituality, and by the environment, I was beginning to feel like my creative pursuit was selfish, that my spiritual pursuit was selfish, that if only I were to take all of this energy, all of this focus, all of this drive and mana, and put it into more sustainable regenerative practices and like actually contribute to those fields instead of the ones that I was excited and inspired by, then maybe my time here in this human body would be more effectively used in contribution. And what I learned by this quote by James Speth was that we're required as artists, we're required as thinkers, as visionaries, as luminaries, as light workers, as entrepreneurs to trust in the depth of our creativity, because we become a center ripple. We become the center of a ripple of inspiration, and we become a walking change that becomes a pattern break that people have never experienced before. This message became heightened whenever I had Bob Marley stuck in my head. I love Bob Marley. My name's Marley. My father's name is Bob. And while I'm not named after Bob Marley, he has definitely been a huge influence in my path and in my life. And so one day I had the song, Redemption Song, stuck in my head. Just one line over and over and over again. It's that one that says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but yourself can free you of your mind. Which is just saying, like, let's stop the samsaric cycles of our thoughts, right? Get out of your mind. Notice that you've been conditioned and that your mind isn't the truth. And so I put on the song to try to get out of my head. And whenever I put the song on, a different song came back to me. And the words that I heard Bob Marley singing were, you've been emancipated. Now look around what you've created. The visions in your mind are the solutions to mankind. Rise up to meet the waters for your brothers, sisters, daughters. Old song won't sing along. We've come too far along. And so we just break that down. Thank you, Bob, coming back from the dead to share more of your music, more of your message. You've been emancipated. Now look around at what you've created. We're all here together because we have similarities in our presence to the world. We have the same drive, we have the same motivation, we have the same creative abilities and visioning drive to create something new. And that has come from our emancipation. We're not plugged into a box where we're just believing everything we're told. Our gift of creativity and curiosity has led us to go further and to take a step beyond the norms of what we see outside of ourselves and to become those spread wings. And the next line was, you've been emancipated, now look around at what you've created. The visions in your mind are the solutions to mankind. So the visions in your mind are the solutions to mankind. We've already seen so many beautiful visionaries present here this week. Thank you, Regenera, for bringing us all together. And there's so much more. We have so many solutions, and it's whenever we can come together in presence like this and share our truth that those solutions can begin to become collaborative, that we can begin to synergize, harmonize, and work towards our ultimate goals of freedom and abundance. Rise up to meet the waters for your brothers, sisters, daughters. Old song won't sing along, we've come too far along. It takes so much courage. It takes so much courage to rise up and meet the waters, because it can feel really scary. It can feel really isolating whenever you have these huge dreams, whenever you have these huge visions of something more, something better. It can feel unrealistic, it can feel ungrounded and completely unachievable. but our visions are a connection to something that has already been done. We're just seeing what is yet to come. And we have to entrust in ourselves. We have to entrust in our willpower, and we have to get embodied to get those actions happening so that we can actually be a part of the co-creation of what is to come. So trust your visions, trust your inner voice. We already had beautiful singing today and some breath work, and I'm going to continue this embodiment practice by sharing with you a toning exercise that's very simple. And this toning exercise is designed to bring you out of this thinking mind, bring you down deep into the body, deep into your womb space. The home of your voice lives in your womb, lives in your sacral chakra. Both men and women, you have a womb. In your sacral chakra is also the home of your past lives, your creativity, your sexuality, and your desire. So whenever you begin to speak or sing from this embodied place, from your sacral chakra, right behind your belly button, you begin to sing and speak from that which you most desire infinitely to create. And it's said that Saraswati sang existence into reality. So let's begin practicing using the magic of our words, using our words as wands. So go ahead, follow along with me. Take your right hand, all right? And I want you to put your right hand right here over your belly button. And just feel the contact of your skin against your skin, or your skin against your fabric, connecting into your belly. Closing your eyes if you want, and let's begin to come into our body. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. Feeling your belly press against your palm, feeling your lungs with air expanding through the diaphragm. And exhale. Taking another deep breath in through the nose, breathing all the way down to the belly, breathing in this present moment, coming all the way into the present moment. Exhaling through your mouth, letting it all go, grounding even deeper into your body, relaxing even deeper. And taking one more deep breath in through your nose. Deepest breath yet, filling your lungs all the way, expanding through the diaphragm. Bring in all of your energy, all of your presence, all of your power right here, right now. Exhale, let the breath go and sink fully into your body. Now, keeping your mouth closed, resting the tongue against the roof of the mouth, let's begin to hum on the exhale. And hum with enough volume that you can actually feel the vibration of your voice moving through your body. Following along with me, take a deep breath in. As you do this, use the vibration to pull thoughts out of the mind and bring your energy down into your body. Do a couple more together. Breathing in. Feeling your body, feeling your nervous system, feeling your state of presence. You can continue to do this exercise if you want, humming, while I explain to you the mechanisms of it. You are relaxing your entire nervous system whenever you do something as simple as humming. The vocal cords rest against the vagus nerve. And whenever you sing, whenever you speak, the vibration from the vocal cords are vibrating through the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body, extending all the way from the brain stem down into the abdomen, and it branches out like tree branches through the body, touching all these organs. So you're sending that vibration through your voice, literally through your body, calming and tuning your body with the voice. The vagus nerve is also connected to the hypothalamus in the brain. The hypothalamus regulates our hormones, our emotions, our sleep, our eating, All of our desires really come from this place of our hormonal emotional balance. And so once again, singing, calming the body, slowing the self, you're regulating your hormones and your emotions with something so simple. Additionally, another thesis I'm working on that's further out is the pituitary gland is connected to the hypothalamus. And in Hindu traditions, the pituitary gland is correlated with the third eye, which is our ability to see, to be present, our psychic abilities. So I'm wondering how something as simple as singing can not only completely relax our entire nervous system, our entire body, but actually bring us into heightened states of presence. Because presence is where infinite time is at. Presence is where our ability to hear ourselves, to hear others, and to hear the earth lies at. And so whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, ungrounded, not present, you can do this simple humming exercise, harmonization, to bring yourself back into your center. Because we can't actually fully bring these visions to life until we hear one another. Because we all have such a unique reality informed by our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, formed by our family, our culture, our conditioning. So for us to actually be able to meet eye to eye in pure clarity, we have to listen. Listen to ourselves, listen to one another, and listen to the earth. And so thank you so much today for listening to this. And if you'd like to know more about Harmonize, it's a vibrational medicine company that I'm in the very beginning spring stages of. It's really exciting. And I'll likely be presenting more on Harmonize and the full exercises that it offers later this week. Thanks so much, you guys.
Hi, Marley, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Wow, I feel all energized. It's so lovely when you actually find the notions, you find your horizons expanded by new perspectives. And I really loved your adaptation, remix, or reinterpretation of the Bob Marley song. And I've actually been playing the chords of the song for maybe half of your talk, just kind of holding it. And I was wondering, as we transition onto the team, the DSS team, Amanda, Roxy, Nicholas, and Faith, and our theme today is celebration, by the way. I was thinking maybe we could have you sing that adapted thing one last time, and then we can move on to the celebratory part. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. Let's see,
we have an Oslo here too. Hi, Oslo.
All right, okay. Is this the tune that I'm singing it to?
That's what you were singing it then. So
great, I love it. Let's go. Let's do it. You've been emancipated. Now look around what you've created. The visions in your mind are the solutions to mankind. Rise up to meet the water, where your brothers, sisters got it. Old song will sing along. We've come too far along. There we go. It's not quite Bob Marley, but
because I was thinking, it was like
there we go. That's
You know, Marley, don't worry about it.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure we will meet in different alternate dimensions and maybe even Hawaii. I'm completely inspired by your talk. And I actually think this is a great segue for us to move into the celebration, because a lot of people think that the hippies, all we like to do is have fun. But matter of fact is that organizations, companies, and communities that party together can create together as well. Because play is super important. If you can play with a human being, that demonstrates that there's extreme levels of trust. And there's also extreme levels of resonance as to what's cool, what's fun, and what's not. That's right. So that we're celebrating today and commemorating partying does not mean that we're frivolous. And more to explain a little bit about all of that is Amanda, Roxy, Faith, and Nicholas.
So
So wonderful to be here.
Oh, give me a second. That's me on the slides. Sorry, I'm late.
So today's theme is regeneration and celebration. Here we are in the design science decade. Design science meaning designing a future that works for 100%, where none are left behind. Using science, using ecological principles, using nature's intelligence, using the governing forces of the world around us, of the whole universe, and tuning into that, being attuned to nature. So here we are in the design science decade, the decisive decade for the rest of humanity. We are in a pinch point, and we also have all the technology that we need. We are far more capable than we know. And as Buckminster Fuller says, this is our final examination. And it's so nice to have each other as a cheat sheet for this exam. So grateful to be in this community. So we have 5 themes of the design science decade that we're co-creating here. And today we are homing in on regeneration and celebration. Go to the next slide. So regeneration and celebration is this phase in this decade that's happening kind of more towards the end of the decade, but all along as well, in which we get all of these indications that life is rebounding around spaceship Earth. So all of the work that we're doing to regenerate our communities, to regenerate our ecosystems, all adds up. Buckminster Fuller called the universe the eternally regenerative universe. That's kind of the base state of life, is regeneration. And so as we tune into that, we can enable these systems to kind of add up, and we'll see this kind of wave from the buffer or latency that's required from like the actions that we take. We won't see the benefit right away, but there's a ripple effect. And so later in the decade, we anticipate that there'll just be this rush of good news as waters return to land, as fish return to those waters, as ecosystems start to become in their prime productivity, as we have kind of co-created with them. And and life will emerge, and we will dance. So much of regeneration is celebration. Celebration of just how capable we are, just how connected we really are, just how genius we are all born, as Buckminster Fuller said, and we're remembering that unlearning. There's so much to celebrate. And I think that celebration is key in this awkward era of bad news getting worse and good news getting better. Anticipating that it is like the long arc that bends towards justice, as MLK Jr. said, like, yes, there's going to be bad news, but celebrate that which is good, because that is the long arc. That is the narrative of this story. And so I've done some sketching on this idea of regeneration. It's a little bit hard to grasp because so much of our understanding of the world is based in kind of a competitive and extractive and neo-colonial way of looking at things. So here's some kind of tidbits on what I think regenerative means. It means humans are a part of nature. It's an anti-entropic force. It's about living systems, shifting from me to we, a non-zero-sum game. It's holistic. It's positive feedback. Go to the next slide. Great, yeah, so we're gonna hear your voices, and I actually have to jump off to another regenerative call, so I'm gonna pass the baton to the team, and it's been so great to be with y'all here today, and I will see y'all later.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Dun, da, da, da. I put a link in the chat. We want to hear your voices. So come with us on a little journey. Go to this website. Slides.com/regenerate. And for some reason you're having a hard time, there's a fancy QR code. I don't even know how these things work. Somehow you put your camera up to it and then something happens. It's amazing. We got 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, all right, you're getting in there. This is great. Okay, so this next question that we would love for you to collaborate and answer while Jurgis plays us a little ditty is, what are the signs of regeneration in the world around you? How are you seeing regeneration? happening alive now. So as you answer, there we go. Jurgis, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm muted. Do you want me to play in the background?
Yeah, I think that would be lovely.
All right, it's just upbeat. You let me know if it's too upbeat because I'm in a kind of like excited mood. I don't know what it is, but.
Created land restored. Cultural healing.
Cultural healing, yeah. Daily mindful practices. Degraded land restored, yeah. And lots of humans thriving and Nicola smiling. That's what I like, yeah. Feeling body more, yeah. Lots of harm reduction, yeah. Shared indigenous knowledge. I think they meant knowledge. Hey, Faith, what did you put into this soup of words of aspiration and visions for the future? Can we plug yours? Gonna share it with us?
Shared indigenous knowledge.
That was it. Oh my God.
Rights of nature.
I love that Faith is there as well.
So beautiful. Yeah, I think perhaps I'm feeling excited because I was practicing Marley's breathing exercise with the singing, stimulating my vagus nerve. I'm wondering whether that's not a form of self-stimulation. That's right. But it feels nice, I have to admit. Yeah, I'm into it. And it's making this experience so much more lovely when I read such beautiful visions where people are asking for less driving, more dancing together, and the smell of soil.
It's so good to hear your voices. This is beautiful. Thank you, thank you. And as the words grow, the bigger ones are the ones more people have put. Love.
Love. Love.
Bueno, we go back. Thank you for sharing your voices on your signs of regeneration that you are witnessing all around. Ciao.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Excellent, excellent. This fills my heart. Well, let's take a short minute to talk a little bit about the studio and the work we're doing. I know we're repeating this a lot, so if you have been attending all the sessions, you hear us talk about the same things every day. But we do think it's important to remind you and also to put this out there for those of you who are joining today for the first time. What you're attending today, Regeneration, is a festival. It's a celebration put together by the Design Science Studio. And the Design Science Studio is this wonderful, magical place that we created a few months ago, coming out of, or at the beginning of the pandemic. There was like this need to do something about what was emerging. And so we decided that it was a great idea to following the design science decade and this feeling that we're at the beginning of something big, to bring together this educational incubator for art. And our goal is to empower creators, multidisciplinary creators of all fields, to imagine a future that works for all life. And this is what we do in many shapes and forms, because you know, we're going through tough times. We're in these liminal, strange stage of humanity where everything is changing and everything seems to have lost ground, and we're at these moment, you know, liminal states or states in between, or these moments in history where like everything, all the constructs, all the like social agreements seem to kind of be upheld, and so there are times of opportunity as well. It's times in which we need to go through new rites of passage and reimagine what is going on and where we want to be. And so the next 10 years are going to be really critical, and all of this has brought into us this feeling of something is going on, something is happening. All these energies that Gurgis was talking about are kind of emerging into a movement that we have decided to name and like push out as the Regenaissance, but it will have many names. It will be the Design Science Decade. It will be just like this movement that is happening, that has been really happening for decades. This is coming from like the climate action movement. It's coming from the happy hippies from the 60s. It's coming from years, hundreds of years of traditional ecological knowledge and indigenous traditions, but it's now us here, if not us whom, and if not now when, it's us now realizing that we need to reconnect with nature, and that we are on a path in which we need to start listening to her again and realigning our principles with, you know, nature, the world that we live in, this beautiful spaceship Earth that we're all traveling through space in. And so our goal at the studio is to really leverage something that we believe is true. We believe that every social change starts with a story. Everything starts with a spark of somebody saying, this is not okay. The things that are happening are not okay, and we need to give voice to them, and we need to not only give voice to the things that are wrong, but also start imagining the things that can be. And so our belief is that artists are the trailblazers of any social cultural revolution, and so it's our goal to empower them to create art that can share more of what's needed and that can bring to life more of these enlightened visions of a better future that works for all life. And we believe that it's time for art that changes history. So we are here to transform our collective capacity and create a harmonic future. And for that, we truly believe that the future is always first an idea. We need to put it into words for it to manifest and to exist. And so we are curating and mentoring and scaffolding and giving wings to hundreds of creators. We're going to have at least one cohort of 144 creators per year, and we're looking to expand that into different cities and countries. And for now, we have this first cohort of 144 multidisciplinary international creators from like 20-something countries. And this week is very special because they've been incubating their projects, their regenerative projects, for 8 months, and this is the time in which we show them to you. And so we're having thousands of talks throughout the week. We're having them presenting all their beautiful projects. We're opening up also 6 virtual worlds. We created this idea of a story universe, of a floating perfect, ideal, not perfect, but let's say ideal, floating city in the sky that has figured it out, that has like thought about their like governance systems and how people relate to each other and their social structures and the way they just like do art and renewable energies. And that city is called Regenera, and it's where all these projects live. And it's a space that we hope will be open for everybody throughout the decade, for all of you who are also creating and pushing and bringing up new ideas, to collaborate and to think together and to talk through this, because we got this. We just need to get together and just like imagine what's possible and start implementing it. So yeah, this is what we are here to do, and we hope that you're gonna join us for this little revolution, and architect the future with us. We are incredibly thankful for everybody that is making this happen, and we really believe it's time for the Regeneissance. And so hopefully you'll be able to come with us to party, to dance, and to imagine. Thank you also so much to all the partners that are coming here with us. Also, if you want to partner up with us, please write to us. Like, really, we can't do this without everybody jumping on board. And yeah, welcome, and let's weave in. Feel free to reach out, and let's move into the next person.
Yeah.
Nicolas, is that all you have to say right now? Or are we transitioning on?
Just for now.
Just for now? You know what I really like right now with Roxy on the screen? We had the Latin American Triad, you know, of the DSS, kind of like, well, you're Spanish, but that kind of makes you Latin American as well.
I'm half Argentinian, so it qualifies.
No, Nicolas, you are Argentinian. You cannot rub that off. You cannot wash that off with any soap or any cultural appropriation or misappropriation. It will not happen. As I say, you're never half this or half that. As long as you're part of the culture.
I'm both. I'm Argentinian and Spanish. I agree.
Let's see. Yes, you see immediately. Now next on stage we have one of my favorite people in the world. Yeah, Ada Paris is going to join us. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And I thought, what could I sing for her that would do her intellect and soul justice? And to be honest, I couldn't think of any single song except one that kind of infected and crept along into my brain. It sounds something like this. When marimba music starts to play, dance. I don't know if it's a sapiosexual thing. I don't know if it's just because I'm so in love with your philosophy or something. Immediately I got into like this kind of like, woo, kind of mood.
Yeah, I get it, darling. I get it. I love you.
I really don't exaggerate when I say you're one of my favorite people in the world. You know, an anthropologist, a philosopher. You know, you're so good at actually taking disparate and dissonant realms of reality and bringing them together with such lovely coherence. So I think it's an honor for all of us to have you here on stage with us, and I think that you'll become one of their favorite people as well, in the course of a couple of minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, give a lot of love to Ada Paris.
Oh, thank you, Jagis. Thank you, everybody. Hi, I'm Ada Paris. I'm just going to share my screen with you. Right, hopefully that works. I have a question for you. What kind of ancestor do you want to be? The current pandemic has subverted the status quo and has given us an insight into the reality of the impact of human consumption on the earth and on its wisdom keepers. It's also provided us with a space to ask ourselves some existential questions about the nature of identity and of humans' place, role and responsibility and levels of power in and across the world. It's also made us aware of the inequalities around the world and question some of the root causes and those deeper intentions of most of our governing isms. The governing structures that have created and maintained them, such as colonialism. We've also become more aware of the impact of our spending, capitalism, and seen the rise in the use of the language of natural capital. I mean, how can we really say that we're trying to improve our relationship with the planet and the earth and its inhabitants if we still only see them as resources for our use? For far too long, many have blinkered themselves to the unintended consequences of our decisions, such as the link between colonialism, climate change, such as the link between climate change and the refugee crisis. The link between colonialism, capitalism, and climate change is what we, our team, call the Ecological Triptych, or for the purposes of this project, the myth of the ego. This moment in history right now makes it evident that we need a new hierarchy of needs. We need new languages and we need alternative storytelling frameworks. If we, and that's all of us here listening, are to be the architects of the future, then to us, our team, futurism is reimagining the past, witnessing the present so that we can design the future. And indigenous futurism is understanding and respecting and embodying the symbiotic relationship between human and non-human, to be able to reimagine the past, witness the present, and co-design the future. And when I say co-design, I also mean with nature. The Kogi are an indigenous people who live in the Sierra Nevada mountains in Colombia, and they base their lifestyle on understanding that the earth is a Luna, or the Great Mother. And they believe that we are her children. And they live a symbiotic living systems way with the planet. Now they have a 9-year ritual where they use a cave as a form of technology, and they take some of their young children, the young males, from birth, and they put them to live in a cave, in a dark cave, for the first 9 years of their life to help them attune themselves to the earth's frequencies. And that does something to their whole body. But what they do is through deep concentration and symbiotic offerings and divination, that they actually begin to embody the experience and embody a way of reconnecting the brain and the body in a symbiotic relationship. And so we, our team, we choose to learn from and acknowledge the wisdom of the Kogi people, who use caves as a form of technology, a tool and a container for rituals and enlightenment. We're creating a hyper-realistic, immersive experience addressing the dissolution of the ego. We've created a systems framework and a story with no words, because we wanted to remove as many barriers to access as possible, starting with the nuances and complexity of oral language. So we invite you to step into our virtual cave, through this realistic, hyper-realistic soundscape that takes you on a very visceral journey to explore the question, what kind of ancestor do I want to be? This experience moves us from I human to we human to kinship with 100% of life. And phase 1, as you enter into the cave, we know that sensory deprivation leads to sensory isolation, which is a similar technique which is used in many meditative and indigenous wisdom and enlightenment practices. You'll experience an auditory simulation of an ego death experience, a psychedelic experience, where we leave old mindsets and programming behind for us to create a new value system. We use specific frequencies and tones and natural soundscapes, such as music and the frequency of 528 hertz, that has been proven to have a stress-reducing effect on the endocrine system and the autonomic system. 2 of our advisors are experts in this field, but in biodesign and psychedelic research. And as we go through this experience, we then begin to experience and understand the interconnectedness of the world, of the mind and the body and the non-verbal, through an embodied language, through the language of animism, the belief that objects and places and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence. And this next, as we move from that, we move from sensory isolation to sensory integration, as we remember how to breathe, and the brain and the body connection becomes reestablished, and the ego is dissolved as we take the first breath of the future. And we start to think about, what does breath actually mean? And we then move to wanting to expand this understanding, this breath, this kinship to all of life. And we need to be able to communicate. And so we start to use new, or rather ancestral and indigenous languages, behaviors, and rituals. And we recognize the power and the patterns of how we communicate. And then we begin to ask ourselves, how do we carry this message forward? How do we scale it? How do we make it impactful and long-lasting? And this is where we introduce the concept of ecosomatic movement, the merging of the fields of embodied practices like dance with ecological consciousness, as we flow with a symbiotic relationship to everything around us, subtly nudging us to think about the long-term unintended consequences of the decisions that we make. From the first pilot of our soundscape, we know that this is the moment when people ask themselves, what can I do now? As they reflect on the metamorphosis that they have just been through as part of this experience, taking us from I to we to kin. And so we ground people down as they emerge from the cave with these new realizations, or as the author Daniel Quinn says in his book, Ishmael, once you learn to discern the voice of Mother Culture humming in the background, telling her story over and over again to the people of your culture, you'll never stop being conscious of it. Wherever you go for the rest of your life, you'll be tempted to say to the people around you, how can you listen to this stuff and not recognize it for what it is? So now I'd like to take you on a journey. I'd like you to close your eyes, and I'm just going to give you a short 4-minute taster trailer of what it's like to be in that cave. Let's see if this works. Is it working? I don't know if this worked. I can't even hear that. Can you hear anything? Nope. Let's try.
No, we can't hear it.
Okay, let's try.
Yes.
Just if you want to make sure you click that share sound checkbox
Yeah.
when you share your screen, then we
I
should be.
have, but it's not working. Let's go back. For some reason, it's not. There we go.
Awesome.
Okay. So if you close your eyes and just enter into this cave with us. You can open your eyes. So thank you for just journeying with us into the cave. So what next? Well, we're building a transdisciplinary, decentralized creative lab called ism.earth, devoted to moving people from complex, hidden, and uncomfortable to simple, visible, and digestible. We're harnessing the tools of 4 interconnected world-building experiences: artistic expression, emerging technologies, regenerative futures or civic solutions, and rethinking policy. We've already started to build a global community and recently held our 3rd club session on Clubhouse with 2,500 people, including MC Hammer and Van Jones. We're currently in 2 pilots, taking the online, offline. The first is using the framework to help restore a harmonious relationship with nature, to approach the questions of what is needed from the land while creating spaces that empower personal transformation. We're piloting a Regenerative Co-Lab in partnership with the Common Ground project in Tom Minor Basin in Montana, hopefully July, August 2021, taking people on a full immersion of the soundscape as part of a 5-day experience. The idea is to create a distributed network of collaborative design laboratories in multiple bioregions that support place-based work needed for that specific community and that region. We're also brainstorming with a potential corporate partner to deliver some of these experiences as an onboarding process to do transformational work with corporates. Pilot 2 is we're designing a hyper-realistic, multi-sensory immersive installation to take people through the 5 phases of the framework. The idea is to use a blend of mixed reality technologies such as VR and haptics to make the invisible from the soundscape visible and multi-sensory. Like the Nigerian Igbos tribe, we believe in Mbari, that art is a form of citizenship, and we're pushing it further, that it's not just citizenship, it's a form of kinship. So we intend to use biometric feedback technologies like voice, EEG, eye tracking data, and a suite of others to create multiple collective and individual artistic pieces so that participants actually become artists who biometrically express their kinship with the world. And much like NASA's Golden Voyager record, we intend to capture those moments and those experiences that can be formulated as artifacts for future explorers as biomarkers of culture and human transformation. And these biometric art pieces will be minted to the digital mycelium network, the blockchain. And so we're finally looping back to the original question: what kind of ancestor do you want to be? We've already got a wonderful team. Here are some of them. My co-founder, Marcus, Roxy, there's, a great Tony Patrick, Grace is an MIT neuroscientist, Niels is creative director, LVMH, Lady Phoenix is crypto art curator, Dylan, MI. We have Alan Macy, biomedical designer. My best friend, Louise, is a human rights barrister, global human rights barrister, with a special focus on in the ethics of AI. So we're making sure that everything that we do, we're sense checking it. And so, call to action, what's the ask? Well, we need money. We need sponsors, investors, donors, a first paying client. We need to understand smart contract business models because that's the way that we want to operate as a lab. We need a project manager, producer across all our products. We need hardware. We need biometric tracking data. And so just in summation, what is it? We are ism.earth, a transdisciplinary decentralized collab, a hyper-realistic immersive soundscape. Pilot 1 is a regenerative collab with the Common Ground project in Montana, and Pilot 2 is a mixed reality immersive installation. And there are some details if you want to find out any more information. I'll just leave that on for a little bit longer. Done. That is me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ada. Wow. Yes, Yorkis.
So inspiring. Do you know where those indigenous people are? They in the north of Colombia. They're like
Colombia.
A couple 100 kilometers in that direction.
I've been invited to go and see them, to go and meet them.
Yeah.
So one day, get my time.
It's very curious. I have a story I like to tell. When I was up in the mountains with them, they hardly spoke to me. And I thought it was a sign of disrespect, but actually if they don't feel that they need to talk to you, that's actually the highest sign of respect, because it means that they connect with you on another level and that there's nothing to be said, that they can just enjoy the sacred silence with you and that you're cool. Another very interesting fact, talking about ancient technologies, do you know what substance, the initial substance that they use for divination is? It's salt. When they're in the cave for 9 years, they get no salt, or almost no salt. So when they get their first taste of salt, they start having all these crazy visions. These people are amazing. Yeah, it's something incredible.
Well, I know it also does something to the melanin in the body, which is why they're able to absorb the the energy of the earth.
I mean, you know what, another thing, one of the main technologies they wield is disinformation. So there's a lot of anthropologists, I'm not joking, there's a lot of anthropologists have been up in the mountains and they ask them, oh, how many gods do you have? And they say, we have 3 gods. You come back a year later, it's like, no, we have 2 gods. No, who told you we have 2 gods? We have 1 god. And so they're actually very, very, very interesting people. And I'm glad you're on that journey because I found immense wealth of knowledge. And Roxy, that's going to be a big journey for you as well.
It's
so
apparently that's one of my main indigenous tribes from Colombia is the Kogi. And my mom, who is one of the revolutionaries, she put a poem that she wrote. I'll read it because she's obviously a descendant of the Kogi as well. She said, watching from the edge of a rainbow, an elderly Kogi shaman stood tall on top of the Sierra Nevada, the lost city, and spoke loud and clear. Little brother stopped listening. We tried to warn him, but he didn't listen. We spoke to the water, the connector of all. Why little brother had stopped listening? Why had he allowed jungles of concrete overtaking the shores? Why he'd allowed others to take more than the ocean had given him to sustain them all? No one really knows. We spoke to the water. The time for us to come out from the sacred lost city had arrived. Little brother, we'll make you stand still on the edge of a rainbow and listen, little brother. You don't own the water. It belongs to all. We're watching you, little brother. You just have to listen while resting your head on the edge of a rainbow. Mommy. Thank you, Mommy.
You know, when we talk about these indigenous people, I feel that we could talk hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And there's experiences we could share, but time is of the essence. And so we right now would like to introduce Olivia, who's also one of those artists which you cannot easily put into a box. She's an experienced designer, she's a producer, but also very much driven by ideals, and creating those immersive environments with the idea to catalyze something deeper within us. And so with no further ado, I'd like to give the stage to Olivia.
Woohoo! Amazing. Thank you. And thanks for this beautiful, playful session. It's been so great to be in this space with all of you. And I'm going to dive right in and share about this beautiful project that has been in the works on my end for a while now. And I cannot wait to share with all of you where we're at. So with that, I invite you to experience everything about the Alchemy Center. Welcome. Okay, let me get this right. So we're all here together because we want to make a world that works for 100% of life. And what I will share with you today is how me and my team are deciding to attempt to do this. The Alchemy Center is many different things. And one of the core pieces of the Alchemy Center is a framework that we have developed and are using. And I will tell you all about how we're using this framework in space and in time. I'm also going to share who we are, who's my team, and what our offerings are. So hope you're all ready. And to start us off, I want to take you on a little journey. What is the Alchemy Center? The Alchemy Center is a long-term vision for a place-centered community. The Alchemy Center will be uniquely designed to create a truly regenerative and pluralistic culture where everyone's brilliance spontaneously arises. Let's let that sink in a little bit. Yeah. And we are a team of collaborators who are committed to regeneration, integrity, creativity, authenticity, and collaboration. through ontological design, our team creates experiences and environments that are conducive to desired states of being, such as safety, intuition, and joy. And if you, on the other end of the Zoom call, carry a vision for a world that works for 100% of life, and you want to support us as an organization, we want to connect with you. And if you are having this vision and are seeking strategic, creative design and production support, we want to connect with you too. And I will share later how. So how do we do all of this? With that, I want to take you on a little journey and kind of sink into the moment that we're finding ourselves in right now, where we're creating the future. And like we all know, there's been lots of thoughts of this dystopian future that may emerge from this day on. But what I want to invite us all to use this special, unique opportunity of these times to create a better future and create human-centered tools. How do we create human-centered tools? Well, I will offer a framework that helps us get there. And for that, I want to invite you to explore our framework that allows us to design human-centered tools. And for that, we are going to look at the way we spend our time. So let's say we all spend a portion of our time searching for understanding. Does that sound? That's kind of what we do sometimes not so much. And we also spend a portion of our time applying our skills, our knowledge, and everything that we've ever learned, which divides our time up into this beautiful little matrix that we're going to be looking at right now. So let's start up here to the upper right-hand corner, where we're searching for understanding, but not necessarily applying anything. This is what we refer to as the ponder quadrant, or inquiry. And what that means is reading books, studying history, research, and diving into everything that is curious to you. You follow the rabbit holes of the internet down into the things that you're curious about in this very moment. And it's very unapplied, it's very undirected. And what that does is it adds this raw material of creativity to our awareness and to our consciousness. It's pondering for pondering's sake. If we move to the right to this quadrant over here, where we are searching for understanding, but not necessarily, when we are also applying our understanding, is what we refer to as the play quadrant, where we are playing with ideas. And I really mean this in a way of experimentation and prototyping. Let's create a database of dreams, because today's noise is tomorrow's music. And what that looks like is we are prototyping, we're using sticky notes, we're using design thinking techniques, we're coming together in meetings with the people that inspire us the most to develop new ideas. And that's what happens in play. And after we're doing all of this, we also want to spend time in this quadrant at the bottom. And it's kind of a special kind of nothing quadrant, because we're not searching for understanding and we're not applying anything. And this is what we refer to as the daydream quadrant. And this is the daydream, mind-wandering type of daydreaming, where we are engaged in a simple task that could be walking the dog, playing with watercolors, playing with clay. But we all know that those aha moments and the epiphanies occur when we are not trying to solve something. It is when we're allowing space to happen, because it is the emptiness in a vessel that makes the vessel useful. And it's all about creating that space through a variety of ways. I'll tell you more about that later. And last but not least, when we're pondering and playing and daydreaming, we're not just working, we are practicing. We are moving things forward and we're putting things into action. And all of this together adds up to this beautiful framework. And I'm going to throw the fake equation, because I am an artist and I can do that. And there's no math in art, right? So let's say we are spending a portion of our time pondering, a portion of our time playing, and a portion of our time practicing. And we hold this to the power of our daydreams so we get that full applied understanding. And what does that stand for? It is the symbol for gold, which is why this framework is called the alchemy of wasted time, also known as the intangible framework, TM. Welcome. So what this does for us and my team is it is reminding us to ground back into our humanity, because one of the beautiful things is that our brain and our being wants to ponder and daydream and practice and play. We are designed to do this, yet we don't allow us to really step into these environments. And our mission is to bring this concept to as many people as possible. And I will walk you through a few applications and how we've been doing this and how we intend to do this even more so in the future. So let's dive right in. A beautiful way to use the intangible framework is to host discovery workshops where we are sectioning our time using the quadrants as a guiding principle. So we're playing for for an hour, and then we dive into a pondering exercise, and then we play and we date and we hop back and forth. And what this does, it is really activating each part of our being to be present in a workshop. Another way that I love to apply this framework is to host awesome events where we're diving deeper into the questions that really matter to us and being radically honest and authentic. Something else that I love doing is using this framework for events and conferences and designing areas where people can literally step into a play area or literally step into a daydream area. And what's awesome about this is when you are in these environments, you find environments that meet you where you're at. So maybe you feel a little bit more introverted and you want to dive into a ponder area, or you feel super like you feel like you want to explore and experiment. So you walk into the play area. And what we also do is building really amazing art installations, placing them into areas for business conferences and areas that usually don't use art and inspiration and the senses to bring people together. And this is the connective tissue that I have so often missed in so many events I've attended for my whole life. And using this framework has been such a blessing in bringing this forward. And again, connective tissue. Something that we have recently started working on is collaborating with architects, for example, Guildworks in Portland, which is a company that uses tensegrity and Buckminster Fuller's synergetics principles to develop these beautiful tension structures. And we're currently developing buildings and structures that hold space for a quadrant system in a variety of ways, in a variety of different ecosystems. A different way to think about this framework and how to apply it, let's imagine we take this and put it on a piece of land. And now we have an entire retreat center that is designed after this quadrant system. And we're designing buildings that are, for example, for pondering, really help you focus inward. For playing, really help you flow from inside and outside and be really free in your expression and experimentation. For practice, designing spaces that are focusing you and centering you. And for daydreaming, designing environments where it's about pathways and exploring and those unscheduled interactions, untasked. It's pretty fun. And this translates to this little matrix that where we've taken the quadrant system and broken it into 12 different satellites that give you an example of how this may look like. So for pondering, you have a tea house. For practicing, you have a restaurant. For daydreaming, you have a performance area and a dance area. So it can fractal into so many different expressions. So, and like I said, the Alchemy Center is a long-term vision for a play center community. What's this play center community? And also what's all about our symbology and our images and the little symbols that we started using and poking and putting out there. And how do we plan to ripple and how do we plan to engage others to play with us? And I'm inviting all of you on this call to join me at 1 p.m. today, where I'm going to give a longer presentation about the Alchemy Center on Zoom. I hear presence is down, but please email me if you want the Zoom link, and I'm happy to invite you where we're going to be diving into what the Alchemy Center is going to look like. So please, if you can make it, join us there. Who are we? So welcome to my awesome team. I'm so proud to introduce them. Like I said, we are committed to regeneration, integrity, creativity, authenticity, and collaboration. And it's something that we are truly living with each other. And it's been a really beautiful process. My team is Ganga Devi, who's also in this call, Casey House, Peter Locken, and John Gold. And together we have developed everything that you're going to see on our website and everything you're seeing at 1 p.m. today and everything you see right now. So a big shout out to these beautiful human beings who I love very much. And we have developed services that we're also offering to other organizations, which includes hosting workshops, doing experience design, ontological design, creative production, collaborative design, architectural master planning, design and programming, community and corporate retreat creation, and land use manuals and signage. So get ready, world, we're here. And we are all about sharing the framework that we're utilizing to develop our own long-term vision. But like I said, it is our deepest desire to share this with as many people and as many organizations as possible. And if I may take you on this little journey through this ecosystem network here, so the Alchemy Center is really at the core of our vision and our process we are going to bring out there, which will lead to all these beautiful manifestations. If it's a structure, if it's an installation, if it's curating an experience, and that on its own is a little ecosystem. And like we know, ecosystems tend to reproduce themselves and create little ripples from all those centers. What are offerings? So let's, like I said, if you want to support us or if you are seeking support, we really want to connect with you. So if you are interested in this, I also can't stress this enough that you are making a work possible. Without you, it is not possible. So if you know, or maybe even own a bunch of land where you're like, this could be a great location for the Alchemy Center, talk to us. We would love to help you accentuate the magic of land. If you want to invest, we need investments, and we are designing the Alchemy Center to be a meaningful project for your patient capital. You want to work with us as a collaborator? Yes, please. We promise to hold your brilliance with care and love. You want to play with experiential architecture and integrate that to your environment or to your property. Something that we're so proud offering is experience design and architectural design in unity to create holistic and integrated structures and environments. And you want to maybe add experiential ontological design considerations to your property. We want to bring the magic of play, ponder, daydream, and practice to your property. So please talk to us if this sounds exciting. You want to support us now, please let it rain. And please become part of a living web. And one way to do this is you can purchase one of these limited edition pendants, which we have just finished and put on our website. So, and it's a little fundraiser. So if you're feeling inspired, if you want to support us in our journey, please consider supporting us. You can find them on alchemycenter.com, where you can also find a contact form and our bios and a whole bunch of other cool things that we prepared for you. Sign up for a newsletter. We're going to be hosting events and many other fun things. And one of which is we're going to be hosting Synergetics University under the Alchemy Center umbrella. And what we're going to be doing on Tuesday is starting this journey into studying Buckminster Fuller's work around synergetics and attempting to continuing to repattern our thought system by exploring topics through the lens of synergetics. So we all get a little better at speaking synergetics. Who speaks English anymore? Let's speak synergetics. It's time. So Tuesday, 4 p.m. PST. And follow us along on Instagram and connect with us there. And last but not least, I cannot thank these beautiful organizations for supporting us, for scaffolding us, for working with us. So thanks to BFI and Design Science Studio for your magic and weaving us all together and getting us to where we are today. And also thanks so much to Amanda from the Vision Train and Mar with Guildworks for working with us so beautifully. Thank you.
Amanda, thank you very, very much. It's so beautiful to see that there are people who are not only pushing things forward, but convening so many human beings into one group. Can I ask you, I saw that many of them were from the Design Science Studio. How important was you to connect with this group of people?
You mean the Design Science Studio?
Yeah.
Well, I think what's so awesome, not awesome about the pandemic, but what's been beautiful about these environments that we are creating during this time is we can connect to like-minded people from all over the world, and it doesn't matter if they're in Portland or in LA or wherever we are. And it's helped me find a group of people that really align with my values, and we just found each other, and it's been absolutely life-changing and incredible. And it's all building on a body of work that's been growing. And I have a team here in Portland as well. And I've been connecting with so many beautiful organizations, but ESS really has become the confluence of pulling all these strings together, because you can hold the strings, but it's a different act to pull. And this is what happened. So it's been really beautiful. Just by the web.
It's lovely. Very inspirational, very beautiful stuff. Olivia, thank you very much. And now I would like to bring on the charismatic Roxy back on stage.
Oh, but before Olivia goes, just also double, triple celebrating this, like you said, the seed. When we read Olivia's application, I actually immediately sent it to Ian Michael, who many of you probably know. And I was like, I probably shouldn't send this, but I have to send this to you because you got to work together. This person is amazing. And Olivia is just like, from the beginning, you've had such a powerful vision, and it's so heartwarming to see that like 4 of your 5 core team members you found within this container, and then now like all the spokes of your ripples and all of your different intersecting communities are just like building and creating together. It's just the coolest thing. It's like our first design science. Well, there's a lot of design science studio babies, but like energetically, it's like so. I feel like you all. There's something happens that wouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Studio is what it is because of all of you, and of course.
Thanks.
Yeah, and beautiful presentation. I mean, you and Ada, just seeing how much has been crystallized and prepared for this moment. It feels incredible to just see the ripples and ripples and ripples that everyone is just like, all right, let's band together with our unique essences and deliver them and declare to the world that we are here and we are ready.
And collaborate. There's so much overlap in everything that everyone has been doing, and it's just the beginning too. So we're all gonna stay in touch.
Oh yeah, it's only just begun. I remember the session a few weeks ago when Casey was like, "This isn't over. I committed to it." I was like, "No, it's not over. It's not over. We got this." Thank you, Olivia, for your vision. It's so inspiring, and so excited to be with all of you and collaborate forward together. It's certainly a day of celebration.
Yeah. Awesome.
Wow.
Love you. And now.
But I think also it's beautiful. You not only find people to collaborate with, but you feel that you're not so crazy, because I know that you take some of these amazing ideas somewhere out there into the world, and people look at you, you're like, And here, at least I feel like I'm at home amongst you people, and then I can actually let out a lot of the I don't know, progressive ideas where you would feel very much ideologically orphaned, So it's lovely.
Yes, definitely. That's been very prominent, where a lot of polymaths, creatives, misfits, all finding each other, not feeling so alone. Real sense of belonging. And that's just rippling and rippling for all of our friends who have come to join us in Regenera Rising. And we will continue to do that. Finding and linking, as Amanda Sage would say, shout out to the Vision Train who's streaming this in there right now. Choo choo, linking train cars. We are linking train cars. And I am so excited for this next part, which we will introduce and then we will close the stream, because it involves going into breakout rooms and having integration and talking to each other. It's going to be great. Whew. But first, I'm going to let Haley introduce, who has been facilitating integration spaces throughout this whole entire week. And just a little bit about Haley, because she's awesome. Haley grew up knowing the moss-drenched conifers and extensive trails between the rainy mountains and messy barnacled oceans. She lived with 3 generations of women who supported each other through everything and knows that love and survival come before anything. She loves storytelling, humor, and listening to how others see the world. Spending her time as an artist, she says things in surrealist oil paintings and builds prototypes for the urban poor as a mechanical engineer. She loves to merge the arts, technology, and ideas for an equitable world. Teaching and organizing STEM and art events and workshops, making digital art and graphic design as a freelancer, she advocates for and is inspired by nature. Thank you for bringing your relentless curiosity, Lily, and for facilitating this space.
Thank you, Roxy, and thanks for this sweet beat. I feel so much cooler when I'm introduced that way. So on this theme that we're joined together under of regeneration and celebration, I'd like to kind of have us discuss in smaller groups to integrate what we've been thinking about during this session and during this whole week in general. And this will be kind of under this theme. So the two questions that build off of each other are, what seeds have you planted that are now beginning to bear fruit? And what seeds are you planting now that will bear fruit into the future? And we're going to go in groups of 3 or 4 and kind of help each other synthesize that for each other and integrate.
And with that, if you are out there in the world of live stream, thank you. We hope that you will come inside the container, come play in our Topia worlds full of art, come to our interactive sessions, come collaborate and participate and celebrate with us. And maybe Vince, as a close for the live stream, will you just put the slide back up so they have the little link, a little visual situation. And in the meantime, thanking all of our speakers today. Thank you, Ada Perez. Thank you, Olivia Gutling and your whole team. Thank you to Amanda Joy, to Faith Flanagan, to Nico. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to Marley Benedicto, to Jurgis, to Alana Bloom, and to the entire team that has made this possible, who is working with so much love to bring this entire week to kick off this decade together. Farewell, live stream world, and hello, breakout rooms. There we go.
And Roxy,
yes.
Before you put people in breakouts, would you be able to put up those questions? Maybe sure. Like an announcement or something so people can see them.
Yeah. I'll go in a breakout room with you, and then we can just put them in the little announcement zone.
Okay.
Okay. All right, friends. Vince, are we closed? Is our stream closed? Closed.
Sorry, I had the mute button was hidden for me. Yes, we are now closed, and you are ready for just Zoom land.
Just Zoom. Okay, I'm trying to make sure that
live on streaming still up.
Yeah, that's